And going. Okay, everybody, thank you for meeting up with us at Young Entrepreneurs. And today's guest is Shane Mayfield from Perfection Plus. Just to tell you a little bit about Shane, Shane has been in the business for 30 years combined as an automotive reconditioning and rejuvenation expert. I think I'm going to try to get that out of my mouth now. He's won 2018's IDA Detail of the Detail Shop of the Year. He's a select member of the 2018 and 2019 Air Force One, historic Air Force One detailing team. Shane, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been in the automotive industry in one form or another pretty much my entire life. I literally grew up in a body shop. My dad used to paint cars. I've been into vehicles, cars, anything you can think of pretty much my entire life. I've been in my own business now for 10 years as not only a detailer, but as a business person and an entrepreneur. I own several different businesses, from a restoration business to a car wash to an auto detailing facility, and they're all separate entities and all separate businesses. They each have their own goods and bads, and ups and downs, and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds it's about right where we're going to start talking about the conversation. So just to let everybody know, for the last 2 weeks, I've been talking about growth as a business, and I pulled in Jody Cedric from Zenware last week, Shane, and this week I wanted to pull you in because you have a unique growth. You grew as a unique type, and that was your business isn't a corporate. It's a small man running and expanding his small business. So can you tell me how you expanded your business this year?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've expanded into the car wash business. So we started off with a weekend wash program here at my local shop 2 years ago, and that grew in popularity. And then we expanded into a separate location where we have a car wash set up weekdays and weekends. And so it really came from planning and just really strategically thinking and finding a niche in the market that I thought that I could tackle. And I had to, it's a lot of trial and error to get something new off the ground, as with anything. And so I just kind of had to figure that out and go from there.
Okay, so I think one of the biggest things that I failed to ask as a podcaster is, when you started off your business, can you tell some of these young entrepreneurs some of the goods and some of the bads about starting off? What were some of the goods and the bads for you when you started off?
Yeah. So some of the goods, man, were, it motivated me beyond anything I ever had done in my life. Like I had that drive to succeed, and that was some really good stuff. And I met a lot of people that really helped me and influenced me. And I took their advice. That's another key thing I would say is when you meet somebody that when you're young in business and you see somebody that's already successful in business, pick that person's brain. Whether they're in your industry or not. They could be from the laundry industry or dry cleaning business, or they could be have an owner of the lumber yard, but they have experience in business, and that's what counts. And that's something that I learned very fast, is to pick those people's brains and figure out how do they retain employees, how did they go about their day-to-day operations. Like when I first opened, I didn't even have a bookkeeper. And I had to figure out, how to do my books, how to do this and that. And I quickly figured out it's much smarter to hire a bookkeeper, even if you don't have the money. That, like I tell everybody, that should be your first employee that you ever hire, is a good accountant and bookkeeper, because that's going to tell, that person should be able to tell you what's going on with your business and how to adjust accordingly so that you're profitable. Some of the bads are, honestly, man, the number one bad thing, I hate to say this, but it's also a good thing, they have their turns as employees. The bad things about employees are all the headaches you get along with it. You have to deal with, for every employee, you have a set of emotions, you have a set of personalities, you have a set of outside circumstances that will kind of dictate how your shop is going to run. And you have to learn to manage each one of those things and the individual at the same time. So if you have 5 employees, you have those 5 sets of problems, and it can really wear on you. And it has over the years. The good thing about employees, man, is I've been able to really make a profit off them, you know, with my business. I've been able to teach and educate people, and these young people coming into the workforce, and help them develop into be managers and leaders, and you know, be productive members of society. And so that's really rewarding for me now. I look at that as a very positive thing, and try to, that's kind of my goal when people come here, whether they last or not. I try to make an impact on them right away. That way, when they go to their next job, they'll look back and think, man, Shane really helped me to develop this job skill or this work ethic, and then that employer will say, hey man, where did you get that from? And then, you know, that's, it kind of just goes down the waterfall, you know, and they become better people. So,
Yeah, that's I like the way you just put that, but um as you sit back through the amount of years that you've been in business for yourself now, how many years did you say you've been in business for yourself now as Perfection Plus?
10 years. So it'd be 10 years in April. Exactly.
Okay, so when you first started Perfection Plus, can you let our young entrepreneurs know, did you go to school for business before you became a business owner?
Man, honestly, dude, I barely have a GED. I had no formal education. I hated school growing up. I just wanted to work on cars, dude. And I wanted to go race cars. I wanted to drag race cars. I wanted to do everything with cars I could think of. And honestly, I wish that I would have taken some classes, because I'd probably be way further ahead, you know, in business. But I'm a very quick learner, and I'm a very quick study, and I'm very good at adapting. And that's what I think makes a good entrepreneur is being able to adapt to circumstances very, very quickly and adjust accordingly, so that you're not stuck in that rut. You got to get out. If you see yourself in a rut, or you see yourself in a position where you're being detrimental to your business or to your family or to your life, you need to get out of that rut ASAP. And I think I'm very, very good at that.
I can understand that. Now that we understand where you started from education wise, did you as you said, as we already know, Perfection Plus is an auto detailing shop, and you've been in business for 10 years. You started off, you're not educated in business, but you were educated already in the automotive field. Being that you were educated in the automotive field, do you feel that you're a better hands-on than you are more than business, or do you find that you're very business orientated and not so much hands-on now?
So when I first started, I was very much kind of like what most entrepreneurs start at. They start as the craftsman, right? So whether you're a detailer or, you know, you're a contractor or whatever, everybody starts out as the labor guy, and they get really good at it, and they think, man, I could do this on my own. Why am I working for somebody else? And they go out and create their own business. And that's what I was. I'm an awesome detailer. And now, 10 years later, I would definitely say I'm a much better business person than I am a detailer, because I focus more on the business part these days as versus the detailing part. I train all my guys in here, and I train them very, very thoroughly for about 60 to 90 days. And then my manager trains them for another 60 to 90 days. And then we have upkeep trainings and things like that. So now I'm not very much on cars. In fact, I can't even tell you the last time that I fully detailed a car. That's how long it's been. But I can tell you daily what I do at my business, how I focus on my numbers, how I know my profit and loss. You know, I know when to order my products. I have all that stuff dialed in, and that's what makes me a better business person today.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about the topic at hand, the growth. Now that you have spent 10 years in the business and that you're on your first cycle of growth, which is expanding your business to the car wash, what was your sign? What was your notification to let you know this was a great time to start expanding your business?
Well, honestly, I kept getting requests from my clients for me to just do simple car washes, you know, quick vacuums, monthly maintenance, things like that. And so it kind of created this niche in the market that I didn't really explore, because to me as a detailer, I want to completely detail everything I put my hands on, you know, and I want the bigger dollars, you know, like just like any other detailer, any other entrepreneur, you want to make that big money. So you concentrate on those items. Well, the niche in the market was in between like the local car washes that have the little machines that you pay like $9 for, $10 for, and my high-end services, which are, you know, in the hundreds. And so I just found that happy medium, the niche where I was, you know, between, let's say 50 and 150 to $250, and I could still be profitable. I could be it could be profitable. It could also be economical, friendly to me, and it could solve that niche of that client base that I had. And sure enough, the second I put it out there as a weekend wash program, literally within 30 minutes of putting it online, I booked out 50 jobs like that. I mean, instantly, just because I had studied the market and I took my time and did my research.
Mm-hmm. Now that you've expanded and you've grown, let's talk about those hiccups again. What were the good parts about growing? And now what do you feel are the toughest or the hard parts about growing?
So the good parts about growing were, like any person with a dream or any entrepreneur that has a dream, when you first get into business, or when you're in business for a while, you always have this dream of having this big old huge building and a shop and all these huge employees and all these cars and all this good stuff. And so that was the good part, is I was able to expand into another building and open another niche of a market, and to retain the clients that I already have. And that really does help me maintain my clientele, because with my coating customers, they want me to maintain them for them 90% of the time. And so I just send them to my car wash. My car wash guys know the coated vehicle wash method. And so they have it down pat. The downside is more employees, more overhead, more putting out the day-to-day fires, that sort of thing. And so that, it just comes with the territory. When I talk to other business owners around here now that ask me for advice, I just say, you got to look at the positives and stuff, because there's going to be a lot of negatives that go along with having your own business and having your own employees and all that stuff. But you have to outweigh that with all the good stuff, like being able to take vacations without having to have a 2-week notice, not having to accumulate vacation time, not having to answer to somebody about what you're doing other than your customers, and if you're putting out a good product, your customers really just, it just goes hand in hand,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I remember a while back, I think I did a repost of it, but one of my favorite things that was ever said that I remember, especially recently, was as you know, I own a business. We've done expanding in my business too, and the hardest part about expanding for me was the fear of jumping out of the frying pan and into the fire again.
Yep.
I think what ends up happening is, like I had mentioned before, it's not the failing that scares the crap out of me. It's the embarrassment afterwards. Like, I look at people, I'm like, hey, if I fail, I don't care really that I failed. It was a lesson learned. You know what I mean? But the embarrassment of not being able to make it as far as I want to make it becomes my own burden, and that becomes hard. So, like, as a young entrepreneur, that's the scariest moment in your life, is to tell everybody, I'm going to do a good job. I'm going to make it somewhere. And you go through your first year and you're like, oh my God, I'm about to fall on my face.
Sure.
So I got a birdie in the background going, I'm not that young anymore. So with that being said, I think that rolls back to another conversation. I wanted to bring this up to you as a point, because I tried to make it a point before, but do you feel that you could have done that expansion if your niche wasn't based on out of your education that you put into now that you didn't have before? So if I remember correctly, you went out to train at Detailing Success not too long ago. And do you feel that really opened you up mind-wise and business-wise to allow you to expand your business as big as it is now?
Absolutely. So I trained with Rennie Doyle at Detailing Success back in 2017, and that really opened my eyes to just the potential of not just being a detailer, but being a businessman. Right. That's where I kind of learned to be not an entrepreneur and not a detailer, but to be a businessman, like to think strategically and to plan and to develop your plan with goals and execute on those goals, and don't let anything get in your way. You're going to have stumbles. You're going to have hiccups. You're going to wake up days and you're going to be like, dude, I can't get this done. But if you want it bad enough, you got to suck it up and do it. And I learned that from the guys not only in Detailing Success, but from the Detail Mafia guys. There's a lot of guys in that group that really have taken their business to the next level. And so through picking their brains and talking with them, that's what they told me, is you just got to suck it up, research it, make a plan with a goal, execute and go. And so far that's worked for me for getting into not only the car wash, but getting into paint protection film, window tinting, ceramic coatings. I mean, you name it. I've always, ever since that time, I've always planned everything. I planned it out on paper. Like we always say, vision, plan, execute. And that's kind of the motto that I live by. And it's a good way to execute any goal in your life, whether it's your business or working out or even going fishing. Like I plan my fishing trip, I envision it, I plan it, and I execute on it. And it kind of sounds silly, but it makes your day better because hey, I'm leaving at 9 o'clock. I'm taking this bait with me. I'm using this line. I'm taking this test. I'm going to fish from this time to this time at this hole. Unless I catch something, then I'm going to stay or move on to this, and I kind of strategically plan my day, even though it sounds weird because I'm fishing and I should just be having fun. Not that I'm not having fun, but I'm also visualizing how the day is going to go. And that helps me to make it smoother, easier, and not run into, oh, I didn't bring this lure, I didn't bring this kind of bait, so I can't catch this fish, and that's the only fish that's biting. You see what I mean?
Well, in the business world, that everybody tends to bite at least once in a while. So you're
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
good with that.
Yeah.
I think, as when I first started, one of the things that I really wish I would have changed was educating myself first before I jumped in. And I think that it's a double-edged sword. I was a graduated auto body technician, so I knew how to polish and I knew how to break down cars and I knew how to pull out seats and I knew how to change fabric and I knew how to do all that really cool stuff. And moving into the detailing world, I think I would have wanted to maybe hone in on some more of those skills that I didn't hone in on. That probably would have made it a little bit better for me. But the other side of that sword was it made me hungry.
Mm-hmm.
And as a young entrepreneur, I think a lot of people go into it and they don't realize, oh my God, that thing that's scaring me is actually feeding me. And
Yeah.
a lot of people need to understand that aspect of thinking that doesn't hurt you, that helps you. And you
Right.
gotta use that fuel to admit that, hey, if I don't get up off my turkis and
Say it like it is.
yeah,
Get up to your
if I
ass.
don't get up off my ass, what's
Yep.
gonna end up happening now is I'm gonna go broke, I'm gonna starve, I'm not gonna pay my bills,
Yep.
and I won't expand like I want to expand.
And you're going to go out and have to work again for somebody else. That's what you got into being in your Moses for. I think that's a great point, man. I think that it goes hand in hand. So I think it does one of two things. It either motivates you, you get scared and you get motivated to learn it, or you get scared and you run. It's kind of the fight or flight mentality, right? So if you're fighting, you're learning it and you're figuring out the business aspect of it, and everything else that goes along with running a business. If you're in flight mode, you're running back to where you came from because that's the easy path, And I think a lot of people get into business and they don't realize just how difficult a business is to run, or they just assume, hey, that guy, they see their boss making what they think is a bunch of money and they see how smoothly he's dialed it in, but they don't realize he's spent years and years and years getting it that way. It didn't just happen, at the touch of a drop of a hat. He had to make all those mistakes. He had to do everything and figure it out and then correct it. And so they see that, and so they're like, yeah, I can do that too. Then they get into business for themselves and they don't realize just how hard it is to maintain a daily operation. It's difficult.
Yeah, in the detailing world, when we make a mistake like that in paint, we call it, you can't learn if you don't burn.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
and that's my favorite saying when it comes to detailing, because it runs hand in hand with another saying that I got when I was little, and that is low and slow. If you slow yourself down and you hold your head just a little bit lower than feeling like you're cocky all the time, then you're going to learn something. And the
Right.
more you learn, that's one niche that you have in your belt that your competitor doesn't have, because you're watching him like a hawk. You're watching everything around you, and that allows you to give your market something that they need that they don't know they need.
Right.
In that, I've learned that that is any entrepreneur's most unique weapon, is low and slow. So
Yeah, I'm learning that over time. Like I said, I've learned to plan and I've learned to execute. Whereas before, like my first 8 years in business, I just went for it. And if I saw an opportunity, I didn't really have a plan. I just tried it, and I've had much higher success rate and been much more profitable by planning out and executing my mission. So slowing down and like you said, slowing down and taking your time and plotting it out and figuring out your moves before you make them. Whereas most guys, if you're like me, you're gung ho and you just go for it. Like, I'm just jumping into the fire. I'm ready to rip. I don't care, and I kind of learned my lesson on that because I've been burned a few times. And so over time, I've kind of learned, like I said, just slow down a bit, plan it out, and execute on it.
okay. So I'm going to take a break right now for our sponsors, and then I will come back and do a little bit more chatting. Okay.
Sweet.
Hello, everybody. This is Scott Mason from Young Entrepreneur, and I have Shane Mayfield from Perfection Plus. Now, Shane, where's your business located?
It's in Redmond, Oregon.
Where the hell is that, man? That's like somewhere out of the boondocks.
No, actually it's not, man. It's so it's in Central Oregon, right outside of Bend, Oregon, about 20 miles north of Bend, Oregon. It's a population of about 40,000 here in Redmond. Bend alone has 100,000. This area is probably if I remember right, the last consensus, it was the 7th fastest growing area in the country. A lot of people coming here, a lot of retired people moving here, and a lot of industry moving in. There's a lot of land around here, and so all these big industries, like we just got 3 years ago, we got Facebook, we got Google. I've heard rumor that Amazon is thinking about moving a shipping center here. We have data centers all over the place. T-Mobile's here. I mean, we're really building up these industries really quickly. So,
yeah, it's amazing what planes can do, huh?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so back to the conversation we were having. So, if you had to give a young entrepreneur a piece of advice, what would it be?
I would say if you're getting into business, learn the business side of business first. And what I mean by that is you could be the best at whatever you're doing, whether you're a detailer, an architect, it doesn't matter. If you're going into business for yourself, learn the business side first. And that means learn how to read a profit and loss, take leadership classes, take management classes, study other management courses, read management books, read leadership books, learn how, plan out your business for the first 5 years to a T. I mean, make an in-depth business plan. That is the biggest mistake that I regret and I ever made, was not having any kind of game plan. I just knew I was a badass detailer and that people had, I already had a really good reputation around here as the best detailer in the area, and I knew that I could make money. And had I planned it out better, I'd probably already be to the point where I'd have 3 or 4 shops. You know what I mean? And I just didn't plan and execute. And that's the biggest thing I could tell is everybody is just plan, and then execute.
Yeah, so as we speak about the whole planning thing, I want to make a couple points out to people right away about business plans. Guys, 5-year plans are great to have. I love a 5-year plan. That's when I set up a 5-year plan, that's the big goal. But let's try to remember that within that 5-year plan, you have a 3-year plan, you have your year plan. So set your 3-year plan as your middle plan. That's all right. I know from my 3-year plan, I'm going to make my 5-year plan. That's when I know I'm about to do it. But up until that point, always set your 1-year plan up and keep improving your 1-year plan every month, because that's the hardest part about a 1-year plan is to fall off your objective. So
Right.
if you say to yourself, last year I did $10,000 in sale. This year I want to build it up by 20. Don't build it up by 20. Build it up by 25, 30%. Because what ends up happening now is you're forcing yourself to be more aggressive than you were the year before.
Exactly. And remember, with your business plans, you should have, just like Scott said, you should have a 6-month plan, a year plan, a 2-year plan, a 3-year plan, and it's a living document. So it's going to change. You're going to get into business and you're going to have to, it's kind of like being a head football coach, right? I'll give you a good analogy. So a head football coach, the week before the game, they're making a game plan, right? They come up with this game plan. They get into the game and all of a sudden they realize, oh, that's not going to work. So they have to call an audible. And so that's kind of what running a business is. You make a game plan, and then you have to audible into another play as you go. And the quicker that you're able to adapt and overcome those things without going through, the pity party and the anger and all the other stuff, because bad stuff is going to happen. The quicker you're able to overcome that and adapt and audible out of it, the more successful you become quicker.
Great. That's an awesome point. So, I ask all my guys so where's your favorite place to eat?
I love this. There's a sushi place here called Shinsei, and it's over in Bend, and I'm a huge sushi guy. Honestly, dude, I'm kind of weird. I hate cooked fish, but I love raw fish. I just love just raw, like ahi tuna, salmon. I could eat that stuff all day. So any salmon place, man.
Yeah. See, I think that so if you said sushi and it's in Bend and everything like that, we got a hamburger place out here that I'm gonna tell you, if you ever come out this way, I'm gonna have to drag you out just to get you have one hamburger. You'll never go back to sushi again, I promise.
Nice.
No, all right. So what's your favorite book as of right now? If you had to give a suggestion to somebody about your favorite book, what would it be?
So there's actually two. The first one I would tell you to read is called Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. And the second one is called The Dichotomy of Leadership, which is the follow-up to Extreme Ownership. And both of them, number one, Extreme Ownership teaches you to own everything. It all falls back on you. Just as a business owner, it starts at the top, like that old saying goes, and it literally is true. You need to own everything, and that will make your guys own everything out here, because when they see that you're taking responsibility for your actions and you're taking responsibility for their actions and you're holding them accountable, now all of a sudden there is no, oh, well, he did this or he did that. Nope. It comes down to you did it, you own it. And then the Dichotomy of Leadership is a great book, because not only does it explain that aspect of it, but then it also goes on to explain the different dichotomies. And what a dichotomy means is two different ways that something could happen. Like for every reaction, for every action, there's a reaction. And so the Dichotomy of Leadership teaches you that, and like how to balance it. And that's what a dichotomy is being able to balance situations. And just like going back to adaptation or being able to call audibles like a football coach, that book will teach you how to do that very effectively and very quickly. And the quicker you can overcome those obstacles, the faster you're going to be successful. One thing that I noticed with a lot of business guys is they get all frustrated and they get down on themselves, and it lasts for months and months, and those months turn into years, and then those years turn into this guy who created himself a job instead of created himself a business or an empire, right? To me, a business owner or an entrepreneur's dream should be not to touch cars out here. Like if you own a detailing business, you should not want to touch the cars. You should want to run the business and have people work for you. So a football coach, again, we'll go back to a football coach. That guy gets paid millions of dollars to coach players on how to do their jobs. He doesn't actually get on the field and throw the touchdown passes. He has the quarterback does it. He coaches them through it. That's essentially what a business owner is. You're a leader, you're a coach, you're a mentor, you're the bookkeeper, you're the receptionist, you're the janitor, you're the laundry guy. I mean, you name it, man. You play all these different roles and wear all these different hats. And so those books will definitely help you adapt to those different things.
Yeah, that book is really good. Another good part about that book is he was a soldier. So it was really cool to find that out.
Yeah, Jocko is a badass, and if you guys like his podcast too, if you guys are into podcasts, listen to that guy's podcast, because he is just raw and honest. He's a badass Navy SEAL dude who does not play around, and when you see his face, you'll see there doesn't look like there's a nice bone in his body, but he's probably one of the nicest guys. I've never met him in person, but from talking to him, he does have a heart. You can tell, but you can see the seriousness on him, and you can see that he's been through quite a bit in his life, and he knows what he's talking about.
Great. All right, so let's give a shout out for you and your business. Why don't you tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and what you offer everybody?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, guys, I'm Shane Mayfield, business owner, detailer. My business is here in Redmond, Oregon, Perfection Plus Auto Detailing. You can find us at perfectionplus.biz, ceramiccoatmycaroregon.com. And my phone number, if anybody wanted to reach out to me, is 541-598-6193. If you see this and you need some help or you need some guidance in business, feel free to reach out to me. You can PM me on Facebook, Shane Mayfield, or Perfection Plus Auto Detailing, either one. I'm on Instagram, you name it, man. I'm on all the platforms. Just don't even hesitate. I don't have to know you. I don't have to meet you or anything. I'm happy to help, because once upon a time, somebody helped me just like I intend to help you.
Great, man. So I'm going to leave on two different notes right now to everybody that's listening to our podcast. So a couple of big things you're going to want to take away today is always make yourself out a plan. Get your business plan written before you even start your business. Write that 5-year, write that 3-year, write that 2-year, and write your 6-month. Number two, your step number 2, try to know your business before you get into your business. Don't just jump in thinking that you're going to be the head honcho of the area, because you might be good until you run into the guy who runs business better than you.
Exactly. It's not about being the best at what you do. It's about being the best business owner, period.
Correct.
And when you learn that, when you learn to swallow your pride and not have to be in this case, like with me, I had to learn to swallow my pride and not make sure that I am the best detailer in this area. I'm confident that I am, but I had to become the best business owner to make my business successful to the point where I don't touch cars. And that should be the goal.
Okay. Step number 3. This one here is my favorite. I get a little violent about this one. Don't give a shit about your competition. Give a shit about you and what you're doing, and focus and hone on your skills and your drive. Because if you're too busy focusing on the next guy over, you're catching up, not leading. So
Exactly.
This is Scott Mesha from Young Entrepreneur saying, Shane, thank you very much for stopping in and doing this podcast with us.
Yeah,
we look forward to having you sometime in the future and see how your expansion's doing and see where you're going. And you have yourself a great day.
Awesome, buddy. Thanks for having me.
All right.